let's talk about the relationship between a big city mayor and a big city police force. And no one better to talk to than our friend Ray Flynn, the former mayor of Boston, and of course also the former United States ambassador to the Holy See. Ray, it's good to have you back on America's Forum.
Happy New Year. Good to be with you, JD.
Thanks, Ray. If you could give Bill de Blasio some advice, Rudy Giuliani said he ought to apologize to the NYPD. Others have said he should, in fact, should resign. What should Bill de Blasio do today when he sits down with the various union chieftains from the NYPD?
Well, I certainly would apologize to the New York police officers. I would chalk it up, however, to inexperience on the part of Bill de Blasio. He was in a heated campaign, and he saw a political constituency that he was trying to cultivate. But that's behind him. He's now the mayor of a great city of New York. So I would also listen to Bill Bratton. Bill Bratton worked for us in Boston, and he did an outstanding job, so he has some experience. But in the final analysis, JD, it's really about the people of the city of Boston. Both Bill de Blasio and the union have a responsibility and obligation to work together, to bring the city together. The situation is difficult enough without having these two important voices at odds. So first, I'd apologize. I'd make sure that let Bill Bratton run the police department, and I'd also make sure that de Blasio make sure that he's on the side of the police, and he doesn't let other people, agitators or anybody else, speak for him or speak for the city. He's the voice. The police commissioner and the union, they all have a role to play here, and outside agitators have no place to play at all. And also, I would say, JD, as I'd bring in the clergy, the ministers, the black clergy, that was my success in Boston in the aftermath of busing, is to bring the clergy and the police and the unions together. And quite frankly, it worked very, very well. We avoided any kind of racial turmoil following in the aftermath of the horrendous school busing in Boston in the early 1970s.
Ray, you speak of practical experience, what went on in Boston with court-enforced busing and the whole notion of bringing in the clergy. But would that include the Reverend Al Sharpton? Should he be a part of these meetings in the future?
You know, it's almost like Al Sharpton is the voice of New York, and I think that's a mistake for any mayor to allow somebody to be the spokesperson for you. I would diminish that role that he plays. In fact, if I were de Blasio, Mayor de Blasio, I'd call President Obama, and I'd ask President Obama to speak to the nation about how racial incidents will not be tolerated in our country, whether they be committed by whites or committed by blacks.
But
and
Ray,
that we're going to work together as a unity.
Here's the challenge.
Go ahead.
You say Al Sharpton should not be a part of the process. Then you say that Mayor de Blasio should call on our president to offer yet another address on racial matters. Mr. Sharpton is, in effect, the White House advisor on racial issues. Should both Mayor de Blasio and President Obama step away from Sharpton?
I think they should. I think there's only one voice that is needed. That's a voice of unity, not only in New York, because New York is the great city. It's also our country. Quite frankly, JD, I've never seen race relations at this level since the early 1960s. And I think that's dangerous for our country. And it's time now to step back. The president has to step back, call it like it is. And also, Mayor de Blasio can emerge as a leader. And he's got a great police commissioner. He's got a great police department. JD, I know police officers all across this country. I know them well. I was president of the United States Conference of Mayors, and I travel all over America to these various departments. By and large, they're very good professional people who only want to do their job and return home to their families and provide for them. So take advantage of that. These are good people. Don't make them the enemy. They're your friends. They're the people who can help unite this city, this
Fair
country.
enough. Ray, before we part company, we have 2 minutes left. We need to talk about the ongoing persecution of Christians in the Mideast. Yesterday on this program, Dr. Ted Baer spoke about the plight of Christians there. Let's take a listen to the good doctor and then get your reaction.
Doctor, do you think we're facing a genocide in the Middle East?
We are. We've been facing genocide for hundreds of years, ever since 600 AD. So, we've been facing a lot of genocide.
Well, we just heard that from Dr. Ted Baer, and of course the Pope has weighed in asking Christians and Catholics to remain in the Mideast despite persecution. Can they stay there in wake of this stepped-up genocide?
Well, I think it's unconscionable for the international community to be sitting on the sidelines, not saying anything, including the United States and the United Nations. I think they have blood on their hands by not speaking out against it. It is genocide. The persecution, the systematic persecution of Christians or any race or any religion, which is taking place in the Middle East. I've said this repeatedly, time and time again. I was criticized for it. I saw this in Rwanda personally, and this is taking place in the Middle East. And really, the United States, the United Nations, and the international community have to speak out and take whatever steps is necessary to end this onslaught of persecution of Christians in the Middle East.
Fair enough. We'll have to leave it there. Ray Flynn, former mayor of Boston, former American ambassador to the Holy See. You know whereof you speak on those two important stories of the day, as always. We appreciate your insights and analysis and look forward to visiting with you again quite soon.
Have a good day. Thank you. God bless.
And you too. Happy New Year. Not all the stories are happy today. A Newsmax Now update, and then we're coming back.